Abigail Barella with Sparkle and Shine Guidance, and this is your new moon oracle for the new moon in Libra at 5 degrees on Saturday, September 28th. It's at 11:26 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so depending on where you're at, it might be a different time. And what we're working with here are a couple different transits, but first let me talk about Libra and like what Libra brings, what Libra season brings, and how the new moon is the deep activation of that energy, because it's where both the sun and the moon are going to be at the same degrees, and it just highlights that whole cycle that we're in. So from the new moon to the full moon, back around to when we get to the new moon in Scorpio. Yes, that is our next new moon. Isn't that amazing? That is the energy that we're working with, so we want to learn more about it. So Libra has to do with balance, restoring peace, finding, it's like the scales, finding that equilibrium. And Libra is ruled by a feminine planet, and it is an air sign, which is a masculine sign. So it has this combination, that balance between masculine and feminine. It's also the sign that represents marriage, which makes sense. It's that balance between yin and yang. And so how do we find that balance within ourselves? Also, where is Libra in your chart? 5 degrees of Libra in particular, but your whole Libra house, if it straddles 2 different houses, that's going to be important, or whatever house that it's in, you're going to want to pay attention there. And this is the opportune time when we have a new moon in Libra. Because it is all about balance and justice and peace, we want to really look at the themes of whatever house it's in for you and set new intention there. With a new moon is a powerful, fertile time to set new intentions, but this one in particular, and I'm going to talk about the transits that make it so, it's specifically powerful for anything having to do with Venus. So Venus has to do with money, love, romance, desires. Sorry, they're chainsawing down some trees nearby. So it has to do with what's on desire for you, and I talked about this when I wrote about the equinox, which is the start of Libra season. But this new moon is really the deep activation, the deep seed planting of those themes. So you really want to understand more about your personal chart, and if you'd like to set up a chart reading, it's a great time to do that. The other thing that I want to remind you of before I talk about the transits with this new moon is Planetary Power, which is a program that I'm doing, and I'm super excited to guide you through. It takes us from Libra season, so it starts October 9th, and it dives into Scorpio season, because Libra season is all about finding that inner balance so that we can do that deeper, uncomfortable work. And if we don't have guidance during that time, Scorpio season can be a little bit jarring. It can be a bit uncomfortable, and why I'm doing this program starting now is because there's other transits happening, making it even more so, making it bring up things even more to the surface that are maybe more uncomfortable. So if you want to study with me and do those 7 weeks, it's a group coaching program. 7 weeks together we spend, and there's 2 more spots available. So if you're interested in that, definitely the time is limited to get in there, and if you want to learn more, just go to the link in my profile. But the transits for this new moon I want to talk about how to work with these energies just on your own. And if you appreciate this guidance that I give to you with the new and the full moon, definitely think about setting up a chart reading with me, or purchasing the planner that I'm doing for 2020. So that link is also my profile, and it has to do with looking at the astrology and then planning around that based on your personal astrology, but also in general astrology for everyone. So this quote, I love this quote, and this is kind of the time period that we're in right now, is tough times never last, but tough people do. And I feel like we're having this opposition with Chiron, so the new moon is highlighting that even more. And when we have this opposition with Chiron, so the Libra new moon will be happening, and at the same time we're getting this opposition with Chiron over in Aries. And Chiron in Aries, it's a longer cycle that we're in. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but just know if you're born between 68 and 77, depending on the dates within those years, but in general 68 to 77, that's when the last time that Chiron was in Aries. So you're having your Chiron return, which is uncomfortable, and definitely a good time to reach out for support and chart reading. But when Chiron is in Aries, it has to do with wounds associated with our identity, our sense of belonging, also our physical body, and any issues coming up with our physical body can be highlighted with this opposition. Also hindrances or places where we feel not accepted or that we have a harder time accepting ourselves, this is all highlighted at this new moon. But there's also this opportunity, because it's a fresh new cycle, that we're resetting all of that, and we are working with new fresh energy around our identity. So the purpose of Chiron isn't to make us suffer. The purpose of Chiron is to break us down so that we can build ourselves back up with more compassion for others, with more compassion for ourselves. And so when Chiron is transiting through Aries, which it will be doing for a long time, this is the beginning of it. It's at 3 degrees right now. We have a long journey of this Chiron in Aries, but this new moon is saying, hey, here's something to work with. Here's something to set new intention around. Here's something to really just bring to your awareness so that you can move forward. So that's happening at this new moon. So working with any kind of speaking things out or talking things out or writing things out around any wounds that are coming up at this time that you'd like to heal, that you'd like to work with. Mars in Virgo is at a, it's a loose conjunction. It's still a conjunction. It's at 26 degrees. And when Mars is involved in a new moon, it's a beautiful thing because it gives us that momentum and that activation to move forward. So Mars in Virgo is a lot about our moving forward from a place of health, from a place of knowing what our body needs, knowing what our mind needs, knowing what foods we need, knowing what physical activity we need, and moving forward from that place. So since it's in Virgo, it gives us more of that practical mindset. With Libra can be a little dreamy and a little out in space, and so it grounds it and gives us momentum to work with this energy, which is beautiful. We also have Venus sextile Jupiter. Venus in Libra is sextiling Jupiter and Sagittarius. And if you remember me talking about Jupiter before, Jupiter is ending its transit through Sagittarius. So this is a beautiful gift from Jupiter before it moves on to really put our desires out there for the universe. Just hummingbird. Put our desires out there, let it fly free, and see what just happens, and not being attached to things, just putting things on desire, putting things out there instead of being afraid and holding back. And what's that doing, right? We're afraid that we're not going to get what we want, so we don't even put it out there, and that's ending. So we're being asked to step up in that way. And Venus in Libra is the ruler of Libra is Venus, so it's really highlighted there. So just don't be afraid to desire things. Don't be afraid to ask for things in your life. We also have Saturn and Pluto involved here, and we will have so this is the new moon. We'll have a full moon October 13th that I'm not going to talk about, but I do want to tell you that it's going to be in an exact square with Pluto, that full moon. And so do the work now so that the full moon is not as heightened, is not as crazy as it's going to be for many people out there. Do the work now, looking at your Saturn, your needs for personal responsibility, for your own actions, for your own, the promises that you make to people, the things that you need to do, and really looking at that. And then Pluto in Capricorn, which is a lot about the bigger system and how you're moving with integrity through this bigger system that is kind of crumbling around us. So that's all up. And with that also comes in Uranus, and Uranus is in a quincunx, which I usually don't talk about them. But the reason I'm talking about this one is because it's an exact on the 5th degree, which is where the new moon is. We have a quincunx with Uranus and Taurus at 5 degrees. And Uranus is about big shifts, unexpected changes. And so if we aren't willing to roll with those changes, if we aren't willing to be open to those changes, they can't come. But this new moon is saying to us, just be open. Just like open yourself up to the unexpected, to just like not knowing where your blessings are going to come from and just being open to them. One of the things I realized about growing up Catholic is that when we'd say, like, I lost my keys the other day, and I know I have adrenal fatigue when I start losing my keys. Side note, but I lost my keys, and I did the prayer to St. Anthony, and it's, St. Anthony, please come around. My keys are lost and can't be found. And I realized something, that like, the way that we're taught to pray is in a very lack way. Whereas, so then I shifted it and it was like, St. Anthony, I know my keys are here somewhere. I can't wait to see where they are. And just like really changing the language around if we think something's lost, we're probably going to have a hard time finding it. Although I will say St. Anthony does come through, but even quicker when we change it to, I know they're here somewhere, can you just show me where? So that's totally a side note, but I just want to say when we're setting our intentions, or when we're wanting to manifest things or have things come into our lives, really saying them like they've always been here, and we're just opening our eyes to them, or we're so excited to see where these things come from, instead of, I don't have this thing, you know, and I really want it. Anyway, so that's all I have for this new moon. And to wrap it all up, this is a cardinal cycle. When we have a cardinal cycle, it is fresh starts. We're into a new season, we're into fall season, and we're getting all these influences from Saturn, the South Node, and Pluto in a cardinal sign of Capricorn. And when we're getting that, we also have Chiron over in Aries. That's another cardinal. So we're getting this opportunity to really start fresh, to really move into new energy, new territory. And we have to be brave, and we have to be willing to, you know, leave behind the old identity, leave behind things that we were comfortable in. You know, I had long hair, and I used to like notice how much I like would hide in my hair, or just kind of like put it down and like just use it as a buffer, you know, and so our old identity, we have to be willing to let that go in order to move into fresh. And I'm not saying you have to cut your hair, but I'm just saying that however that looks for you in your life, leave fear behind. Fear is not coming with us to the future. Fear is not serving you. And so if you can step forward in a brave new way and accept the changes that have already happened, just that like gripping on to the past just because it was comfortable, it's not an option anymore, and it's not serving you. And honestly, you'll notice people around you getting sick or suffering, or like having things come up because they're unwilling to just really let go of whatever the energy has already moved on, but there's that gripping. And so if you notice that, you know, there's people around you doing that, just like recognize that you can't obviously control that, but you can show them the way by embracing change, by embracing courage, and just kind of moving forward in your own way. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this. If you do, please like and comment. It really helps, because all of the new things are making it harder to be seen on social media and YouTube. So it really helps me to do that. So thank you. And if you enjoyed this video, please check out my website too, and look forward to that planner. I'm really excited about that launch, and I hope to be doing some visiting to different places, bookshops, and that kind of thing, to be sharing this work with you guys. So have a great day.